I don't know if this is gonna be too shaky, what I put my camera on this time, but yeah. Uh, this is a video of, like, random shit. I have a title in mind, so I guess I'll talk about that situation. So, I have a FetLife. If you don't know what FetLife is, it's just like a social media forum for, like, kinky individuals. You can add people as your friends, you can post pictures and video, blah blah blah. There's all kinds of forums. You can find local meetups and events and all that shit. And I've been on there since like 2012. I've kind of like been off and on, like kind of sporadically used it. I mean, I've definitely made friends in the local community out here, and I've gone to meetups and stuff here and there. Like, there's some cool people, but you know, there's also creeps out there. You always gotta be careful. I've definitely got my fair share of interesting messages on FetLife. And, yeah, I got one a couple days ago from my fucking neighbor. I live in an apartment complex, and he didn't specify which neighbor he was, but I had a sneaking suspicion before I even asked which neighbor, because I had to know. I had to know if I was right. I just looked at the age on there, because he didn't have any pictures or anything on his account. I just saw 29, and I looked at the name, and I was just like, his screen name, and I was just like, I bet it's the guy who lives across from me, and motherfucker it is. It is the fucking guy who lives across from me. There's a level of awkwardness. I never expect that shit to happen. But I guess it's not that uncommon, because it also happened to one of my friends. Yeah, small world. Especially if you live in an apartment complex, I guess it's more likely to happen. My fear was always when I'm working somewhere and someone says, "You look familiar," and I'm always like, did you see me when I worked fast food? That's always my question. Like, well, I worked at Taco Bell and I worked at McDonald's over here, and like, maybe you went there? I don't know. I always try to do shit like that. Or I'd just be like, well, I'm all over the place. Like, you know, I drive all over, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. That's always the other one. Like, if I run into people at like a job or something, or like out in public and they say I look familiar, I'm like, please no. I mean, I don't post anything like crazy on FetLife, honestly, but maybe I used to, but I deleted a lot of that shit. Not much though, but yeah. And it's just more of an awkward thing. Like, I have a lot of anxiety, so that's not like the first thing I would want an interaction with a stranger to be. Like, I'm pretty open. Like, I'm fucking open about shit. Like, it's not something I'm hiding or anything. It's just like, you never know who's gonna be a fucking creep about shit. I guess that's what I'm saying. And like, messages from this neighbor guy just keeps talking about my body being and I'm just like, no, I don't want to. I already play avoid my neighbors. Now I have to actively be like, super avoid my neighbors. Oh boy. Especially like, I mean, at least I work third shift, so like, I sleep during the day for a fair amount of it, but like, now I'm really like, when I leave the house, I'm just like, I don't want to run into this guy. I really don't. And he's like one of the people I see at least a couple times a week, just because he's always in and out too. It's just, he wants to talk to me and get to know me, and he wants to hang out, and I'm just like, I don't. You left a shitty note on my car 3 years ago. You think I'm gonna forget about that? Nope. Maybe it was 2 years ago. Am I being petty? I don't know. I think he started it by being petty back then. He was literally, okay, that situation was so stupid too. Oh my god. I was working third shift cleaning job, and he was leaving for work. And I had sat in my car for a little bit, and I forgot what I was doing. Maybe I was like fucking around on my phone for a moment before I went inside. It wasn't like too cold outside or anything. It might have been in like the fall or something. And I got on my car. He was parked kind of close to me, but I was trying to make sure I didn't like do anything to his car. So I got out and I walked off, and then like when I came back later, there was a note on it, and I knew it was from him. He was sitting in his goddamn car too. He was looking right at me. Like, if something actually happened, he could have been like, hey, you know, I can see you were trying not to hit my car, but maybe you accidentally did. I don't think I did, but he was like saying that I slammed my door into his car and my car's a piece of shit, and like his car is actually nice and I need to respect people who actually like pay money for their car. Like, just this long ass note, and it's just like, I'm pretty sure I didn't hit your car, but if I did, it was probably like the smallest little, because he was trying to say I dented or scratched his car, which I'm gonna call bullshit on that whole situation. He was sitting right there. If he felt anything or heard my car hit, he could have very easily like rolled down his window and been like, hey, be careful or something. But instead of talking to me, you leave a shitty note on my car. Thanks. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot of interest in getting to know you, because you seem like you have a problem. I mean, I'm being cordial because it's my fucking neighbor. If he gets fucking see, this is where you get in weird situations where it's like, at what point do you block somebody? When they start getting fucking creepy weird and don't leave me alone, I guess. Right now he's just like being all like, well, is it bad that I found it? Because I told him it was just awkward. He's like, well, is this a bad thing? And I was like, kinda. I don't want to see you in person, dude. I will actively, like, jump off my fucking deck to avoid you at this point. And see, okay, I had another stupid thing involving FetLife, like, happened this week too. So I had 2 fuckeries in 1 week. And the other thing was like, this was when I was with Josh Tuesday. I was in the car and we were driving back to my apartment, and I got a text message. I was like, who the fuck number is this? Like, I don't recognize it. Especially it's like a St. Louis area code. Like, I definitely don't recognize this. I'm just staring at my phone, and Josh is like, what? I was like, I have a text and I don't recognize it. And I was like, who is this? And he was like, this is so-and-so from Scott, yeah. I was like, who the fuck? I don't give my number out. I gave my number out to one person on Fet, which was someone I went on a date with that didn't turn out. Like, I talk about that. He was just like a box of fucking rocks. Who still, like, pops up off and on, like, trying to text me. Like, acting like he wants to date whenever I know he's just trying to get his dick wet, so I ain't about that. That's the only person I ever gave my phone number to. So I was like, what the fuck? I was, like, so perplexed. I was like, who the fuck is Scott? What the fuck? And at first I was like, well, maybe he has a wrong number. And it just incidentally someone else from Fet. And then, of course, before I'm able to even send, like, I'm sorry, I don't remember giving my number to anybody, he sends a dick pic and says, do you still want this? And it's just like, first off, I never wanted anybody's dick off Fet. Thanks. Bye. I didn't answer. I didn't even send that text. I just let it be. He didn't send me any more messages, thankfully. But I went through all my old messages on Fet. This motherfucker, it's been 3 years. I had maybe a total of 30 words exchange with this guy, which was like, hey, how are you? Like, those were the first things he said, and I was like, I'm okay. Like, a real basic conversation. He goes, hi, my name is Scott. And I'm like, hi, I'm Nicole. And he'd be like, have a good day. And I was like, you too. That's all I said to this fucking guy. Like, he didn't even, like, persist or say anything else. I never talked to the guy again. This was almost 3 years ago. So somehow, this guy went through all his old messages, figured out who I was, and found my phone number and texted me. No. We don't do that, fucking creep. You're a fucking creep. I'm not sure. I had some possible theories, except for the fact that I don't put my name on Facebook. Not my full name, and my phone number ain't public on Facebook. So even if you were going through and trying to do, because I thought about the whole reverse image search thing, but I was like, well, even though I have some similar images on both sites, I don't have that information public. So you don't get any more information than you would have got from my vet. So it's a fucking mystery to me, and that fucking freaks me out a little bit. And what the fuck? And I definitely wouldn't fuck some dude who like hacked my fucking phone number or whatever, like got my number not from me unconsensually. Like, fuck you, no, you're a fucking freak creep. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. I'm a little ranty about that. I was like, what the fuckity fuck? And like, I was expecting more reaction from my friends about that. Like, Josh was just like, are you sure you didn't give someone your number? I was like, because that's when I was sitting with him. I was like, no, dude. I actively, like, fight dick off with a fucking sword. Like, I'm not in all that fucking rando bullshit. That's not what I'm looking for. He's like, well, that's weird. And then I told him later, yeah, I definitely didn't give this guy my number, and I figured out who it was. He said, yeah, that's strange, and he brought up the reverse image search thing, and I was like, yeah, I thought about that, but then I just gave him all the reasons I already said why I think that wasn't gonna go anywhere. He goes, yeah, I don't know what to tell you on that one. That's interesting. And he also, when I told him about the neighbor situation, he goes, yep, that's awkward, good luck with that. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for being supportive. You know, my life is just a fucking shit show. And weird, and the strangeness in my life. Everything comes in pairs, right? Or like groups of 3. That bullshit. My life seems to be pairs of weirdness. I definitely have other stories I can go into another time. I don't know if I want to get into some of those things right now, but yeah, I definitely have stories. I'll just keep this one just focused on this week's bullshit, which is FetLife weirdness. Anyway, I'm just gonna stop this video here. Subscribe if you want. I post random shit. Bitch.